Alright, so welcome back to the Nose Plays. We are going to continue our series on the Umbral Choir today. This is a recap from my original First Impressions video where I came up with some strategies early on that some of them turned out to be pretty good and others turned out to be not as good. So I've revised my thinking quite a bit. I've played a couple of games off air, and I've come up with a pretty good strategy that I feel showcases some of the strengths of the choir and also solves some of their weaknesses, particularly this issue that they have with manpower. So we'll be discussing that more in detail over the next several minutes. That being said, let's kind of recap a little bit about where we were at the end of last video. So we spawned over here next to a really nice industry node, which really helps start our economy off right. Your early economy is almost exclusively based of industry. That slowly transitions a little bit to dust, and depending on which faction you use and what kind of economy you want to roll with, you can transition almost entirely to dust. But early game economies are always based on industry. We started in this really crappy star lane. There's a lot of really bad systems along here. The one decent system was Ceres, and Ceres was taken over by pirates before we were able to do anything. We did manage to hack a sanctuary onto Korana, and we also hacked a sanctuary over to Gano. And Gano just happened to have an endless planet with some very good resources per population pip. So what we are currently in the process of doing is getting this hacked into a sanctuary, and then we're going to start funneling all of our population over here. The fact that they're giving a lot of food is actually going to help snowball the effect that I'm looking for. One of the things that we're trying to solve is this issue that we have with manpower in the mid game. Sorry about the camera work there. And the issue with manpower in the mid game is largely going to be solved with massive amounts of food and also an unlikely friend in the chain gang program. And I'll explain that later as we get to that point in the game. But for now, what we're going to do is just kind of start rolling with the turns and see if we can get to maybe turn 60 in the next 2 hours. It is almost 9 o'clock my time, so if we can get done by 11, that'd be good. And if anybody who is watching has any input or any comments, any questions, anything that they want to say, feel free to type in the chat and I will respond to you as I see your questions. That being said, I don't think there was a whole lot left to do at the end of this turn. I think we wrapped it up in the last video. So I think we're just going to go ahead and end the turn and move on. Get my ships moving. Alright, so I went ahead and I paid for this, bought this out. We're still working on Intergalactic supermarkets. This is one of the things that I do very regularly with the Umbral Choir. In the mid game, or the late early game, whatever you want to call it, around turn 30 or so, I start focusing on building these fantastic, unique buildings. There's a number of them all over the tech tree in different regions of the wheel, and they're all really, really great for the Umbral Choir. So you really want to focus on grabbing some of these buildings in the mid to late early game, whatever you want to call it. But that's what we're working on right now. We also are going to focus quite significantly on building wonders whenever they pop up, and this one's actually going to be done relatively quickly as well. And then I have a number of other things that we can sort of just get done whenever they get done. This is one we are going to start putting our dust to use. We're going to start buying things out as we can afford to. So I'm going to go ahead and buy that one out. We bought this one out last turn because we were actually getting 8 science from it, and we'll get another 8 science from this one, and then we'll kind of just wait as our population fills up the rest of our nexus nodes there. We have a couple of scouts, and at the moment it appears that the pirates all the way into turn 30 still do not have the ability to detect stealth units. I'm not sure when they actually trigger that. I thought it was a lot earlier. In my last video, I mentioned it was around turn 20, 25. But that does not seem to be the case in this game, and I'm not sure if I'm just mistaken or if something's changed, but I thought they were getting that much earlier than they seem to be, at least in this game. Okay, just some more science. That being said, I don't know that I want to risk standing here. We know he's going to end up on this node. There is another curiosity here, but we can just avoid him altogether by traveling down this lane and taking a nap over there. Our second scout moved to another constellation where there are a ton of minor factions, and we may be doing something with them in the future, but we will see. I'm just going to keep moving him around. Perfect. And we've already done what we can there, so we'll just grab these. Battle tactic. A load of Eden incense. We've gotten a couple loads of that now. And nothing there. We did unlock a quest. Let's see. Search the curiosity on the planet of Nahal if you're ready to give up 10 Hyperium. We definitely have the Hyperium to do that. Sure. We'll have to wait till next turn to do that, so just put him to sleep for a turn. Clear all of those. And let's take a look at our hacking operations. We have 2 hacking operations currently running. One of them is going to, again, build a second sanctuary over here. We already have one. And the second one is heading down to Nair to build a sanctuary as well, I believe. Both of those are going to be done in 2 turns. We have a lot of bandwidth available to us. I could put some defensive things down. All we have is encryption at the moment. I think I'm going to hold off, and the reason for that is this quantity of unused bandwidth is providing us extra manpower. I'm not sure if it shows how many. It doesn't show the bandwidth here, or at least how much of it's being converted to manpower. It may show that over here somewhere. Hey, Bad Helper, how you doing tonight? I'm not seeing it, but I mentioned it in the last video. I believe it's one of these traits. Yeah, so 0.5 manpower from idle bandwidth on Empire. So Dark Matter Manipulators is the trait that for every unused bandwidth you have, you get extra manpower. I'm doing pretty good. I actually got some shopping done after work, so that's always good. And settled in quite nicely to a lovely whiskey cocktail. And playing some Endless Space, so it's always a good thing. I've also changed a few of the settings for the stream, so let me know if there's any issues with it or if it looks good and everything's fine. I went ahead and upped the resolution to 1080p. I had it at 720p last night and that seemed to work pretty well, but I'm going to try some different things. Awesome. I'm glad people seem to be enjoying it and learning stuff. That's why I'm doing this. Help everybody get a little better at the game and also to learn myself, because I am not an expert by any means, but I do have a lot of good information for people. Are you going to be bringing the epic memes tonight? More population on Gano is always good for us. And we hit our population collection bonus, which I'm actually curious, what is our population collection bonus? Pacifist. Influence will increase in our empire. Okay, that's not exactly the exciting thing that I was looking for. This one's pretty cool. So this is an interesting give or take mechanic. We get extra manpower for unallocated bandwidth, and once we hit 20 pop, we get extra influence for allocated bandwidth. I'll have to think about how I might best use that in a future episode, and then just straight up more hacking speed. The one thing I haven't really paid attention to, we could be getting more bandwidth and more science if I were willing to buy some potatoes. And we have not checked the marketplace in a little while, so there are 8 potatoes. We are 2 potatoes short, and they are fairly expensive at the moment, so I wonder who else needs potatoes, but somebody's using them. So I guess we're not going to be doing that this game at least. It is definitely something I would encourage you to do whenever you have the extra dust, to grab those luxuries and boost your populations where you can. Alright, let's check our ships. We should be able to hack a few more things as well. Or maybe that's the next turn. I think we were 2 turns away. Yeah, they seem to. I've had them settle on crappy systems before and leave the good ones for me, but it sure seems like that is the exception and not the rule. Okay, we get plenty plus 20% science on Empire for 10 turns. That's not a bad thing at all. We can definitely use that. Objective achieved. All for the price of 10 Hyperium, I guess. I felt like we had a really rough start, but I think we've salvaged it pretty well at this point, especially grabbing that endless planet. I think that's going to really pay off for us in the long run. Also, the one thing that I also think is helping our start is the fact that we got the asteroid field like right next to us. So we literally hacked that on like the first or second turn of the game. It was pretty ridiculous. And that basically doubled our early game industry. This pirate's heading back this way. We want to avoid him. What we got here? Dark Glitter? I want to talk about Dark Glitter for a second. I've been having a lengthy conversation in the Discord chat, Amplitude's Discord chat for Endless Space, about this resource and how freaking amazing it actually can be in certain circumstances. So if you haven't heard, most people had a really, really poor opinion of this as a luxury deposit that you could use for system development. I have since changed what my opinion is of this. This particular resource is amazing. And so the first thing that it does is pretty self-explanatory. It adds 200 defensive manpower capacity to the system that you use it to develop, which is whatever. There's a number of cheap buildings that do that. But the second effect is actually what is amazing. Plus 75 enrollment rate on system. What this actually means is you get 75 free manpower every single turn that there's an invasion on your system. That is why, since the patch, this particular resource, when used by the AI, has made certain systems incredibly difficult to invade and almost nearly impossible to invade in some cases. 75 free manpower every single turn that will stack with conscription. It also gives you 75 extra manpower deployment. So if you're at your maximum manpower, that 75 is in addition to what you would normally be able to deploy. So that's what really makes this incredibly powerful at helping defend your systems. The plus 10 also seems to apply to your empire-wide manpower pool. So that's actually going to help you build manpower quite a bit. And manpower is definitely a problem that the Umbral Choir have. And since we only have one system, this is actually something that's pretty reasonable for us to pick up at some point. It might be more like a level 3 or level 4 modernization that we grab for our system. But if anybody ever finds our system, they only have to invade one system, and we want to make it as hard for them as possible to do that. So that's a resource that I would keep in my back pocket if you're playing against a really aggressive player in multiplayer, or if you're playing against a really aggressive AI in the late game and you want to make your systems a lot more annoying to get through. It's just a ridiculous amount of manpower that it's going to add to your invasion defense. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and keep moving here. And do we don't have anything else to search here, do we? So we don't need to go to sleep. We can go ahead and move down this lane. Oh, we got a ship. Okay, well, we'll find something to do with that ship, I suppose. And we found the academy. No planets on this system that we can colonize easily at the moment. But the academy is a nice planet to have. And I think we may have a quest that we could use. Well, no, I don't think the academy will work because we can't actually settle on it. We could potentially use Ariga for that quest that we got last game. That requires another unique planet to finish. All right, 2 of our hacking operations just finished. And also our tech. This is one of the most important techs that I really like to grab early. Plus 20 industry per planet. We have 5 planets in our main system, and it also applies to sanctuaries. So this is a really good building that will get down relatively quickly. And then I went ahead and I queued up the next industry building, which isn't as good on our home system as it could be, but plus 5 per population on sterile is still not bad. And since all 5 of our planets are sterile, this is also an okay building. I may actually rethink this one. We're going to come back and look at the technology screen at the end of the turn, because there are some other things that I kind of want to get done too. We're at 3 of 5 on Gano. When I get to 5 of 5, I'm probably going to take this off of Gano and move it back to our home system, because that's where I want the majority of our pop. We can actually start collecting dark glitter. That would be nice. Maybe we do that. I like this forest planet better than the medium arid anyways. So we're going to go ahead and create our first sanctuary there. And then this system, we're going to create that sanctuary. Bad Helper says, I wonder if it would be beneficial if we dump lots of resources on the market for dust buyouts in the production for early snowball effect. Yes and no. It will depend on if there's any potential that you could maybe use those resources in the medium to short term. And also whether or not there's anything worth buying out to Snowball. There are a few things that are always worth buying out to Snowball. Industry is definitely one of them. So if we do have a bunch of things just sitting there, it's always a good idea to kind of start dumping them off. But if you're going to do that, you definitely want to use the dust immediately. You don't want to just sit on a big pile of dust either. So that is why you'll see me spend my dust even on just shaving a couple turns off of things, because a couple turns here and a couple turns there, especially in the early game, does add up. The one problem that we're going to have with that is the things that we're building right now are really expensive, so we're not going to be able to buy these off. But we might be able to buy this off actually really quickly. And what I might even do, it's only going to take 4 turns to get this finished. I gotta think about this for a second. I think what we're going to do, we're going to finish this Intergalactic supermarket in 2 turns. And we're going to take a look at our inventories, as you just pointed out, and see if we can't sell enough stuff to get enough to maybe buy 2 or 3 turns off of this tech or this building. So let's take a look at what we're sitting on. So we have 67 deciduous trees with an income of 3. 60 Eden Incense with an income of 1, 25 Dark Glitter with an income of 4, 25 Red Sang with no income. So this is definitely one I would consider selling because we don't have a lot of uses for it. Our population don't use it. We're not going to build another system empire improvement with it, and we're not collecting any more of it. What I would want to do before I sold that, though, is check the prices on the marketplace. And so because there's so much Red Sang already on the market, the price for selling it's pretty low. But we can go ahead and sell all of it. If you hold down Shift and click this, it'll put your whole stack there. So we'll sell that off. The deciduous trees, we're getting a fair amount from our sanctuaries. So we can sell that off. Eden Incense actually is going to give us a lot. Transvine is going to give us a fair amount. And Dark Glitter, I'm going to go ahead and sell off as well. So let's see what we put us at. So we're at 5.2k. We only need to shave 1,000 off of this. So we have a number of things we could buy out. The other thing that we have a ton of glass steel. So let's go ahead and sell like half of our glass steel. So like 67 of this. Oh yeah, there we go. And then we can just buy that out. And this is actually a really good building. Anything that's industry or food, at least in like the first 50 turns of the game, if you can afford to sell stuff and buy out, will definitely snowball and accelerate your snowball. One of the problems we may wind up running into, and I've run into this in a previous game, is we just kind of like run out of things to build. And so we need to get our science going pretty quickly after we get our industry online. Otherwise, we're going to be sitting here with nothing in our queue. That being said, let's take a look at science. I did go ahead and queue this up for 2 reasons. Number 1, this building's really good. And number 2, if we do get into a point where we can't really build anything useful, we can always throw 3D printing into effect temporarily. It's not the most ideal thing in the world, but it's better than not building anything. So that's one option we have. Another option we have is we just grab some stuff in the science tree that's going to help us out. Unfortunately, there aren't any real buildings in the science tree that we can get right now without jumping a tier, and we need one more tech to do that. That being said, the accelerator is a really useful hacking op. So I think I'm going to grab that and throw it in the queue. We'll get this done. We'll start on this. And then we'll look at this next tier. Your hero experience and skill will pay up for those sell-offs. Your hero is getting better and better. Yes, absolutely the case. And that's one of the reasons why industry is so important. But also why scouting with your hero at the beginning of the game makes more sense. Because you just don't have the industry down to really build things quick enough to make gaining XP valuable on a system. And because a level 1 hero doesn't really add any significant benefit to a system, there's no good reason to have them down on the system right away. But once you get your Xeno-Industrial infrastructure down and a few other things going for you, you start to build things much more quickly, and your hero thus starts to gain XP. And if you stack industry on top of industry on top of industry, sprinkling in a little food and a little science and a little dust as you need it, your first 50 turns, you'll see a lot of accelerated growth. So that's what we're going for. There's another little trick you can do with other faction heroes that I'm not going to talk about a ton here, but it's basically maximizing the cooldown, where you send them off to scout and then drop them back in here right before buildings get built, because most of the XP that they gain from sitting in a governor seat is actually as buildings finish production, and then they get a little bit of passive XP per turn, but it's primarily those big buildings that get finished. And so if you manage to time it right, where you get them back on your system right before big things get completed, you can actually get a little bit of extra XP that way too. Again, a very min-maxy kind of a strategy, and not one I often use because I'm just not good at remembering to bring my hero back in time. But you can do it. I've got some more curiosities. We're up to quite a few curiosities at this point. It looks like I need to get back over to this system. And hopefully we can avoid that pirate for a few more turns. I wanted to take a peek at how many... We've got 59 already, so we're more than halfway to 100, and it's only turn 33. We are running out of the easy ones that are close to our system to grab, but even still. Okay, what I want to do real quick is I want to go back here and take a look. Watch how big the jump is going to be for our industry. We're at 332 right now. We actually just passed 300 food. This means that we're actually building a population every single turn. This is also the point at which you can start to chain gang, like literally every turn. And yeah, well, and that's the thing. The Umbral Choir always builds tall because they only get one empire. Now you do have the option in some maps to grab a lot more sanctuaries, but I think generally speaking, the build order for these guys is always going to be pretty similar because there's really only one optimal way to build a tall empire. And there may be a couple of variations, but there's going to be one that's better in most situations. And I think I've largely cracked part of that code. There's definitely some things that I can improve on, but we'll see. So 330 something we just said. What are we waiting for here? I thought I clicked that. Hacking ops, okay. So we have 2 hacking ops because we just finished our 2 hacking ops. We did get a backdoor on the pirates. We also got a backdoor on this miner faction, and we've been utilizing those to great effect. That way we don't have to hack all the way from our main system all the way across here. So backdoors are really key to being successful when you're kind of boxed in. Unfortunately, they can be detected and taken down, so you got to be careful about that. But what I really want to do is I think I want to grab another sanctuary over in this system. What does this system look like again? Because I think, yeah, this large tundra will give us more titanium and more hyperium. We also have dark glitter over here and a lot of good anomalies. Be a great place to fill up another sanctuary. So let's go ahead and start a hack to there. That's only going to take 3 turns. And then I'm going to do another hack from here to here. And I want to get a second planet on this system. The reason I want to get a second planet is because your stealth level of a sanctuary city, as we talked about in the last video, is based on the number of planets that you have sanctuaries on. So by getting a second planet in this system, it will take level 2 stealth detection for pirates or any other players to spot us, which is ideal for us and bad for them. So that's what we're going to do. And because next turn, I guess, next turn I'll get the accelerator. I could throw that down, but I don't think it's really necessary. We'll talk a little bit about accelerators later when we start hacking pirates and other things. Lots of messages here. We'll want to look at the science tree again and see what we've unlocked. We did unlock new curiosities, so we'll also want to take a peek at all of our systems and see if there's any new ones we need to uncover. This is done. This will be done in 1 turn. Gano is at 4 of 11 now, but only 5 of those population is actually on the planet that I really care about. So let's just take a peek. We're at 3 of 5 and I have 1. Can I move this over here? I can. Alright, cool. I can move these guys around. When I get this filled up, we're probably just going to go back to our main system. But the returns on that particular planet are so much better than any of the ones in our system. I think it makes sense to do that. And behemoths are now available. We did not really participate in this quest, so no reward for us. But we did get this achieved, so 150 extra dust. And our population grew enough to hit the next objective in our quest. So we got a worthless support module. The next part of our quest is 100% recovery rate from assignment on heroes and 2 experience per turn on heroes, or we grab a hero. A scientist hero, already at level 5. This might be worth doing. Heroes in the Umbral Choir are kind of interesting because you don't have a lot of systems to put down governors. You only have one. And so getting tons of heroes doesn't make as much sense with these guys as it does with a lot of other factions. But I have a feeling we're going to start transitioning to a more military type of gameplay here soon, especially with the Cravers sitting around our same constellation. And so having a military hero that's already at level 5 would not be the worst thing ever in the world. Inhabit 6 systems. We're already on the way to doing this. So yeah, let's go ahead and pick her up in a couple turns. Alright, we should be able to get the last curiosity over here. And then it's just a matter of taking a look around and seeing if there are any new curiosities that we can go back over and grab that we missed. So far, I see one here on Kura, over here on Zinnius. Okay, it looks like there's a few. So we'll send this scout kind of back this way and see about grabbing those. We may also look into retrofitting it once we get to one of the systems that we have the ability to do that on. And then this guy has a probe, so we can go ahead and scout with him. 3 curiosities here, including a small Mediterranean. With tier 1 strategics, and that's actually a pretty good anomaly. How hard would it be to... It'd be quite a while, but we might be able to hack from here and then jump over to there. If we could jump from here to here, we could avoid hacking all of these guys, but then we would have somewhere over here to hack. Atlas is also another option because of Araga. I'll have to think about where we want to send that other. They're both running right now, so we can't do anything until they're finished, but they won't take very long. Alright, let's go to sleep. This ship, what do I want to do with this ship? Do I just want to sell it? How much is it costing us? 7 dust a turn. I can sell it and make 36 dust and gain 100 manpower back to our global pool, which is now empty. We don't really have a use for this ship. And it's not good enough to really keep around with only 79 offensive power. I think I'm just going to sell it. It's kind of a free reward anyways. That will help keep our manpower from being 0. This 0 up here is your global manpower, so keep that in mind. It's not manpower on your systems, or in our case, sanctuaries. This is like the free people that could be assigned somewhere if there was a need. Okay, this triggered now, and this is bad news for us. So these guys now have the ability to see, and you notice they kind of sieged us for a second and then moved on. But because there's only one sanctuary on this system, anytime that pirates or other players that have stealth detection and this was turn 35, they're going to start to see us. So we're going to have to try to avoid these guys now. Or get our stealth detection higher, which we could also do. Okay, this system has hit the 5 that I wanted it to. So now I'm going to cancel it, and we'll just leave that at none for now. We also got the Intergalactic Technology Institute. I'm going to grab that and queue it up. It's a fairly expensive building, but we will be able to get it relatively quickly. And our hero has gained another level, and we have some choices to make here. We just talked about how science was starting to become an issue. We're running out of things to build, and there's a really cool skill right here. I forgot what it was called earlier today when I was talking to people in chat. It's called Blue Sky Speculator, and the reason this ability is so cool is it gives you plus 30 on system, but it also counts each sanctuary as a system. So if you've grabbed a lot of sanctuaries, this can actually be super duper efficient. If we zoom out real quick, and we did forget to come back and look at this, but a couple of turns ago we were at 300. We're already over 500 at turn 35. I want you to watch what happens to our science. Like right now, we're getting a bunch of science from various things. Interstitial sciences is basically that tier 1 public-private partnership like building that the choir have. And the reason that we're getting so much for some of these is because there's a lot of fertile and temperate systems on these sanctuaries. But once we get Blue Sky Speculator, watch the value of all of these, and specifically this one, because this is the global value, and that adds all of these back into this number. So we're going to go ahead and add that point. Now the other option is we could grab this for 5% extra industry on system, and we will absolutely grab this, but I think right now our industry is fast enough that grabbing a little bit of science isn't going to hold us back too much. So then we come back to this screen, and bam, we're over 400, and notice these numbers have all jumped. You can put a second point in there and bump that up to 60, which makes it even more ridiculous. And right now we only have 3 sanctuaries, but in the mid game we're going to have 9, 10. I mean, that's a lot of sanctuaries, each getting that 60 bonus. That's over 600 science if we're at 10. So very, very powerful ability. Alright, just one more of those, and then that guy can find something else to do for a while. And I wanted to take a look at the tech tree before we move on. We unlocked this branch here, so both of these researches are now a little bit cheaper. That's what this branch means. But there's a bunch of researches in this section and in the next section that are really, really good for us. Let's just kind of go through a few of them. So this one is plus 25% on happy. Science is really important. I like to save this one till after I've gotten most of the other sciences that give flat amounts, because it's just more effective after you have a large amount of science. But it also gives us the ability to colonize ice, which Ariga is an ice planet, and a nice defensive hacking measure, as well as an offensive hacking measure. So this one has some value outside of just the science building. This one can be really good if you have a lot of anomalies. Plus 25 per anomalies on colonized science and dust. You might recall we have like 6 anomalies on our home system. So this is actually another really efficient building. Also, plus 1 population slot on crescents is pretty cool. And so I like this a lot, but I don't like it not quite this early in the game. Once our population on our crescent starts to fill up, this is something that I'm probably going to come back and grab. This is the science building I usually go for. 30 flat science plus 2 per population on planets. And this one's pretty good. Again, we get defensive and offensive, and colonize Arctic. This one's nice because it gives us the wormhole tech and the food tech, which I use occasionally. Also, we can reduce those some of those negative anomaly effects, and we get an extra hacking operation, which can really pay off in the mid game when you start hacking more. And then last but not least, because we're not going to look at Behemoth Tech right now, Endless Secrets and the ability to colonize deserts. We don't have very many deserts in our area. I haven't seen too many desert planets yet, so we're looking at these 4 as possibilities. The question is, are any of these 4 more compelling right now than getting more industry and a way to deal with not having anything to build? And I'm kind of leaning towards maybe. I would really like to have another hacking operation. There's a lot of things that we could be hacking right now. That is an interesting thought. The one thing that I don't like about moving it to the other node is it will destroy the beacon, which will then reduce our industry by 50. And while at this point 50 is not nearly as much as it was at the beginning of the game, I would rather not destroy that unless we have to. If we were able to get in a position where our system was in a better spot by moving it, it might make sense to do that. But I think typically you don't want to move your system until somebody finds you. Once they've found you, then it makes more sense to try to move. But there is a cost to moving your system. And if you grab a lot of those beacons, which we don't really have the option of doing, but I have done in the past, when you move to one of the other beacons, all of the other beacons get destroyed. And so you can't jump around from beacon to beacon to beacon. You have to rebuild all of them each and every time you move, which kind of sucks. But it's something to think about. The thing is, we don't get the benefit from sitting on this node. So this node is a nebular cloud, I think, which is, where is it at? Plus 10 of all those. We don't actually get that from sitting here, which is odd to me. I would think we should, but we don't. The only way that we get the effect of these is by putting a beacon on it. The nice thing is that the beacon, as soon as it's activated, actually starts giving you the effect. So we are getting the 50 immediately once this beacon hits, even before it's fully charged up. But again, I'm not sure that moving to that one would make sense. If we move to any one, I would want to move to one that's kind of far away from where we are now. And unfortunately, I mean, that might be the closest one that's kind of far away. There's also this one over here, and that would be a really nice move from one end of the constellation all the way to the other end. That would be a really cool trick if we did get found out. And we would be able to hack that beacon pretty quickly from Gano, so that might be something to consider if the Cravers end up finding us or the pirates start harassing us. I'm not sure that that's what I want to do right now. We're one turn away from getting one of our hacking operations back. I think I am going to go and grab this before that. And that'll give us some more options. We're at a point in the game where having lots of hacking operations is going to be nice. Because we can maybe start to hack all these minor civs. And we just haven't been able to do that. The blue player has taken over the sowers. I guess that's better than the Cravers doing it. I'm kind of curious where they came from because I haven't seen them yet. We're going to create a sanctuary on this system. Tiny ocean planets looking pretty promising. 9 food, 10 science with that. But I did want the collection of the strategics. I think we're going to go with the strategic collection for now. Let's go ahead and get a second hack on here just to get up to level 2 as quickly as possible. Alright, we're at 10 of 19, so now's kind of the time where we want to start considering potentially doing some terraforming. Terraforming is going to be kind of important. We're managing to hold on to loyal right now, but as we start to fill more of these overpopulation slots, we're going to start to see some negative effects of that, and it's going to probably push us below happy. In fact, we might even be able to get into a position where we're really close to pushing up above happy and into the next category, and that actually gives me an idea of maybe it's time to grab a technology that gives us an approval building. That would be interesting, except that I don't think they would show up for us like that. If they were also Umbral Choir, we wouldn't notice them. We would just start getting hacking messages. Okay, so one thing we haven't really focused on at all are approval buildings. I'm curious, and I think this is probably the case, that approval buildings that affect luxury resources probably affect your sanctuaries and count those as well. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, if we get that building that gives you 5. Because this one gives you a flat 10 and it's basically instantaneous. We can get it done super fast. But this one gives you +5 per luxury deposit. It costs a little bit more, but it does allow us to colonize ash planets. It also makes this technology happen a little bit faster. I'm going to try it. I have not tried this one before because I've not had luxuries in my home system, so I've never thought it was very good. But I want to see if it actually applies. If it actually applies to all of the sanctuaries. If it does, then it's actually not a bad building. If it doesn't, then it was a real waste of time, and that's unfortunate, but we learned something. So this is going to take like 2 turns to get done to test. Maybe like 3. Alright, so we have that building now. Or we don't. Okay. We don't get it. So that was a waste of time. Well, not a complete waste of time. We still get the ability to colonize ash, which does have some value. But yeah, that approval building isn't available because we have no luxuries on this system, so it's not going to count the luxuries from our sanctuaries, which is unfortunate. But we'll fix our happiness another way. So the best way to fix our happiness in the short term is probably this building. Why can I not click? There we go. And we can throw that in the queue as well. And we've got another hacking operation. Let's come out of here for a second and see. Okay, so now that we have 2 hacking operations here, or sorry, 2 planets on this system, you'll need level 2 stealth technology to actually detect us. Alright, we have curiosities to search. And any that way? There's one on Atlas, but I think we're going to head this way first. Also, I am planning to start focusing on minor factions a little bit more. 11 of 19. And now we can next turn solve our happiness problem. or not really problem. We're at 80%, but we are filling up fast, and we are starting to breach into the overpopulation slots a little bit. One thing that we could do to prevent too much of that from happening is start assigning people to one of our sanctuaries. I'm trying to think if there is... Do any of these have like a really good planet? Probably this ocean fertile is the best one. We could start putting population there. Was that an Oid that we just grabbed? The ocean? No, that was a forest. Or no, we grabbed the tundra. Yeah, let's go ahead and start filling up Oid 3. And the reason that I'm going to do that is just to slow down any disapproval that we're collecting for a little while, but also because if that other player starts to snatch all those systems up, we want to have a lot of sleeper potential going on over there. Alright, we got 2 curiosities, or one curiosity, 2 probes. And we could send this guy back through, and there's a whole bunch of these over here that we didn't get. And we are at a position now. I've got another hacking op. Where do we want to put it? I think I want to get... I already started one over here. Is it time to do that? This is a Baron. Yeah, I really need to get one on here, but I can't. Aquarius would be a good one to grab, and so would Atlas. Let's just go ahead and grab a sanctuary on Aquarius for now. That's one of the reasons why I went to grab the other hacking operation, because there's just so many things that we could be getting done that I just don't have the ability to do yet, but we're going to start to improve that a little bit. I kind of feel like I'm playing a little slower tonight too. I guess that just generally happens as you have more and more stuff to juggle. Alright, so we got our approval building, and we now have the ability to spend all of this lovely influence we've been banking. Probably a little later than normal, but we didn't really uncover any minor factions that I wanted to grab. Until we got this area uncovered. So let's go ahead and get that building either queued up or bought out. We can just buy it out. No need to worry about that. And then because it's going to improve our happiness to 90, we're going to get a really, really nice... Ooh. Yeah, that is a good point. I did notice a few of the tier 2 strategics had popped up on the map. I think there was another one somewhere. Yeah, over here. We saw antimatter, so Gizar is actually a really interesting system that we might want to grab. It has all 4 strategics and the academy. That might be the best place to go. Let's take a look at which planets. We just got the ability to colonize Ash recently, actually. So this will give us an average deposit of that, and an average... This will give us 2 of each. That might be the most efficient way to get those secured. We're going to be getting that in a couple turns. We'll get the ability to colonize Ash if we haven't already. I thought we did already. But either way, we'll be looking at that soon. This would be another one that we could grab really, really fast, and we probably will, just because the hacking distance is so short. And once we get the third hack every turn, that will help us split up our... That's a good point. What are the planets in this system, by the way? Yeah, so it's just the 2 ash. They're just not very good planets. I think that's one of the reasons why I was avoiding it in the first place. This is a really bad negative anomaly. This is a pretty bad negative anomaly. They're both tiny. A large desert is okay, but not when it's such a poor system otherwise. The real benefit of this system would be pulling in the titanium, or sorry, the adamantium, but I think rather than prioritizing that, I am going to prioritize this one over here just because I can get both of these on a single planet and these and the Academy. There's a lot more to gain from one hack over there than grabbing this. While it is a star lane thing, we don't like blockade systems and build like cohesive empires as the Umbral Choir like a lot of factions do. So I don't think having like choke points is quite as important, because you never really control it, if you know what I mean. Be the first to build the Endless Research Park. That should also trigger another quest for us. Does it matter which one of these? I think we'll grab the forest. Alright, we have 2 population over there already. I thought that would be our 3rd unique building, but maybe wonders don't count as a unique building like I thought. This does, though. So let's go ahead and throw that into the queue. This will be a unique building, can only be built once in the Empire. Hopefully it counts. Yeah, it says unique improvement. We needed a quest that said grab 3 of these in less than 21 turns. No, this is not the right one. Where's that quest at? That's the one where we're going to grab Ariga potentially. Did we already finish that one? Failed. Completed. I could have sworn we took a quest where we had to... Oh, it wasn't a quest, it's a deed. That's what it is. Now I feel dumb. This is what I've been trying to get. There's a deed over here, which is going to give us 75 Jade Onyx, and we're absolutely going to use that 75 Jade Onyx to probably help with our Tier 2 system improvement if we manage to get this quest, which we should in 2 turns, if I'm not mistaken. Also, we're at 100% now. That means we're getting an extra 25% food and influence. So yeah, we're over 400 food, 600 industry, 500 science, 200 dust. We're doing really well. All right, 3 curiosities to search. Lots of goodies, nothing really super fantastic. Antimatter over here as well. I really think we could snag all of this if we're really, really good with our hacks in the next few turns. But what I am concerned about is this. We haven't even really looked at this yet. I'm wondering who this is. I'm concerned that it's probably the Vaulters. The reason that I think it's the Vaulters is we didn't see a colony on this. There was no outpost. It literally just immediately became a system. Sometimes I do. I think in this game I actually put them as random, so I don't know who is who. But if I were to color code... Who do I usually make light blue? Maybe the Hisho? Sometimes I use light blue for the Hisho because I think it matches their color scheme. I try to match everybody by their color scheme. when I play with all 10 factions. That might actually be who that is. It could also be the Sophons, but I think I use dark blue for them when I do color code. Otherwise, I'll use random. Good question, though. Ooh, a yellow player. That's the Vodiani. So that's the first of them that I've seen. See, I really like light blue for the Vaulters as well, but orange I think fits the best for them because orange is kind of like their accent color that's on all their crap. So I use orange for the Vaulters. We have a hacking op, and the question is, where do we want to send it? What does this system look like again? It's just a lot of planets, but not a lot of really good resources. Yes, it is pretty disturbing how fast we can do this kind of stuff. One thing that I think would be beneficial is if we grab Mintaka, and the reason for that is anything that we can do, well, you think it's fast now, but wait till we get that third hack, because one of the things you can do is you can literally, like, we could just hack back and forth between all of these. We could have all of this done like super quick. Yeah, a lot of weirdness going on with this. I think the Hisho can also accelerate their colonies. So like you could put down an outpost and then immediately buy it out with your key. And that might be what happened, and that might be why we didn't see an outpost. So that's another option. I kind of want to jump over to Atlas too, though. Ooh, so many good things going on here. All right. Let's actually start working on getting these guys. So I'm going to start hacking their system. And we're going to put an accelerator on this just to make sure we don't get traced very likely. And we'll see if we can't get some approval going on with them. Yeah, it could be the Lumeris as well. They have the ability to maybe send a probe. Like they could be out here somewhere and send a probe and see this system with a probe and then colonize it with dust. So that's another way. The problem with that, though, is I think if they do that, doesn't it still require them to start as an outpost for a while? Because this is straight up a system. And that happened really fast. Like, I never noticed that we had this here. That's a good question. Let's take a look. There is not currently a option to intro. However, if we flew our scout over there or even sent a probe over there, we could probably find out. I don't know if I'm close enough for a probe to reach anymore. I've moved quite a ways away from... Yeah, I'm way over here now. There's a fast way to figure this out. And maybe this is a good time to demonstrate that fast way. So before we do, let's take a look at our cord. Let's see if there's anything that we want to upgrade on it. I could put some better engines on it. We have tons of Hyperium, so why not? And I'm actually going to put 3 engines on it, because right now moving is more important than scouting. We do need some probes to uncover the random curiosity here and there. The other thing we could put is 3 ram scoops. I think ram scoops are better, because I forgot we even had those. Alright, so then what we're going to do, we're going to queue one of these bad boys up. Throw it right... We'll just buy it out. And I'm going to put the sanctuary link over on Oyed, so that ship will actually deploy all the way over here. And then we'll be able to scout those guys with that scout and figure out who they are. Boom. Problem solved. Alright, do we have any other hacking ops? We have 2 of 2 running. We're good. So I don't think so. And the reason I say that is because I'm pretty sure that that ram scoop ability stacks. I'm not for certain though. But what I do know is that when I put 3 of those on my Argosy, when I play Vaulters, I can move like all the way across the map, which makes me think with 11 move, it's got to be like 11 move plus 75% distance per point of movement for me to do that. It's just ridiculous. So I haven't completely verified that yet, but I'm pretty sure that it stacks. That plus 25 stacks, which makes it ridiculous. It makes it the best engines in the game, basically. I guess it makes it the best engines in the game for scouting as long as you can stack them. Like you can't put 3 ram scoops on, you know, some of the bigger ships without taking up all of your support modules that you'd rather use for other things. So I don't think they're the best in the late game for your bigger military ships, but as far as like straight up scouts or colony ships, oh heck yeah. I haven't found anything that moves them faster. If you do and you test it out, please let me know. Give me a note in the comment section of the YouTube video that this will become. Alright, I think we're good to go to turn 40. Hostile trace detected. We knew that this was going to happen. This is these guys. But we're going to hack them before they get to us, so I'm not worried about it. Alright, we now have an extra hacking operation. We also have a few other things that we can do. And we now know where the... Okay, so this is where they came from. So they're probably on a constellation right over here. Yeah, give it a try and see what you think. I have thought the same thing, and I thought that if it didn't stack, it would be better to use like 2 of the +4 engines with 1 ram scoop, but I'm almost certain it has to stack. The distance the Argosy can travel is just too ridiculous for it not to stack. But I could be wrong, and I've never actually like tested it to see if a ram scoop and like 2 +4 engines actually moves me further. I need to do that one of these days. I guess maybe we could do that tonight. See which one of the ships, have a little ship race, build 2 different ones and see which one can get farther. Alright, we got population over there. New population collection bonus. We've already hit 20 pop. So you remember a few turns ago, Bad Helper, when we hit 10? We're already at 20. I don't even think we've played 10 turns. The growth is just ridiculous with these guys. Which one is this? Did we already read this one? I think I already read that and I just didn't clear it. Solo quest. Have a hack pass through the academy. Possess 2 heroes on fleets. Hack through a total of 10 nodes in less than 20 turns. Huh. What are the rewards? More hacking operations. Science. Or just straight up hacking speed. I like this one probably the best. 10% hacking speed just means everything gets done faster, and then we can hack even more. And we definitely wanted to hack to the academy anyways. Now what I don't know is, it says have a hack passing through the academy. So maybe we just need to go through the academy and to another location. I'm going to take this quest. And since we have 3 hacking ops now, I don't see how we're going to do that very effectively. I'm going to have a system here soon. So this would be, I think, the closest. I want to put that quest up here. Which one is it? Current quests. Let's pin this quest. It doesn't have a time limit on it, so I don't have to worry about it. So we can sneak up on it. Because what we're going to do right now, I've got this hacked here. We're going to hack to this, then we're going to hack to here, and then we can just kind of go system to system. And maybe even from here we can hack across to Geyser. and then over to Niall. That would probably be the fastest way to get to it. But we'll figure it out. It's not going to be a quest we have to pay a lot of attention to right now because there's no time limit. But I want to have it up here so that I don't forget about it later on. Alright, we have 3 of these now. There are no curiosities on that system. There's one over here on the pirate and one over here on Zinnius. And actually, I can go ahead and buy that out. The pirates detected us, but they haven't attacked us. That's curious. I think it's maybe because they're blockading our system here? I don't know. Not sure what's going on with that. Usually they just attack you at this point. Alright, grab that curiosity. Even better, another system here with both. So yeah, this is definitely a really rich constellation to be a part of. Alright, I need to get this ship. I guess we'll just go down here and maybe jet this way. I want to kind of get that ship retrofitted, and Aquarius might be the fastest place that we get that ability. Yeah, we're going to have to start moving quicker for sure. I hate this one. So some of these quest ones, they queue up in a position that you have to be very careful how you click on because it keeps bouncing you out. Come on. Okay. Got it. And got it. Okay. Yeah. Do we have any movement left? We'll just queue that up and end the turn. Alright, I want to keep these guys as one of the 3 if we can, so I'm going to give my official support to them. Nothing else to do. And unfortunately we lost the... That's not good. We lost the ecologist party. Didn't build enough food the last 20 turns. So we lost our really good law. Plus 20 food on sanctuaries. That's interesting. Yeah, sure, let's just run that. Food is kind of what I wanted anyways. That's what the other law was really providing more than anything. Alright, so now we have another really good industry building to get down. And we'll have to pick a new technology at the end of this turn. The analytical engine is completed. The hero has gained another level. Let's go with a little bit more science, because again, we need more stuff to build. More Umbral Choir. Another good hack. Large Savannah. And we did achieve this, so that building did count as a unique building. The wonders that we built have not, but we did get the 75 Jadonics, and we're really close to unlocking this, and so we might even be able to use that Jadonics before the end of the video. We're going to need the ability to mine this, we're going to need the ability to colonize gas, and we're going to need extra mining tech at some point maybe. So this is going to go in the queue, but I may actually come back over here first because we need more science buildings. I think everything else is going well.
The Vodiani and our church acknowledge you.
That's interesting. So how did they see us? They saw us because the pirates can see us, so this is one of the annoying things. And this is one of the reasons why you want to really avoid these guys. If they have detection, they detect you on the node and reveal you to everybody else on the node. So the fact that these pirates have spotted us means that anybody else that's on this node can now see us, or that has vision of this node can now see us. And so that is kind of annoying. We did get attacked by them on this turn, which we're going to retreat from. And we'll just head down here and get away. Yeah, it's kind of an unfortunate side effect of getting spotted. One thing to note, though, and an important piece of information we learned in this video, is that it seems like, at least in this game, the pirates didn't get that tech till around turn 35. Which means, if you want your ships to stay hidden, you need to have your scout ships teched with level 2 scout stealth before turn 30-35. So gives you a good idea of the timing that you need to try to move into that tech if you're going to stay. That's a good question. It is a military tech in the 3rd tier of the military tree. So it's going to require 1, 2, 3 military techs before you can even grab it. And it's a module that is it this one? No, it's that one. Yep, this module here. Set fleet cloaking level to 2 on ships. I think it is a module. Yeah, if you type cloak, spell it right, you'll see all the cloaking tech is up here in the military tree. One half is the stealth modules and the other half is detection modules. And I'm not sure why this says cloak. I think it has to do with Behemoth's cloaking or something. Oh, that is a good point. Yeah, so this is in the Shadows Affinity. That means that this is changed from the typical version of this. And so you're right. We don't actually have cloaking modules. We just have the ability to cloak, and this changes it. Other factions actually get a module that they put on their ships. And so the level 1... This might be level 1 cloaking for other factions. Level 2, I'm not sure. I'm not sure where level 1 cloaking is. It might even be down here. But anyways, this is normally a module. It's not for us because we're a unique faction. Good call. I agree. Alright. This guy... What is this? We get a shuttle from a quest or something? I don't know what this is from or where we got it, but I'm going to send it over here and see who these guys are. That has to be... What is going on? I queued up a scout to be built over there. Alright, we like dropped a cord over there. That's what I queued up. So why did we get... I'm really confused why I got a shuttle over here and not my scout ship that I created. Huh. This is the scout ship I created. Okay, I know what this is from now. I'm dumb. The ship that I queued over here, I scouted the titanium quests that I had trouble clicking on. That queued a ship that was our reward for one of those quests. And then I stupidly sent my scout over this way instead of this direction like I wanted to. Mystery solved. That being said, where do we want to send you now? Into Craver space, maybe? They don't have any curiosities. They got nothing over there. I guess we just send him up this way, because we know... Actually, no, we'll send him this way. He's so fast, he'll outrun this other ship. And then we can scout this other constellation with him. Who has potential sleepers? The Cravers? Yeah, we could start putting sleepers on their systems if we wanted to. We definitely have the hacking ops now. We're at 1 of 3. We got 2 that we need to set up, and I already know where one of them is going to go. I'm going to set one over to Atlas, and then I'm probably going to set another one here so that we can get this to level 2 stealth. Is this going to finish, or are they going to trace us? Looks like it's going to be close. We're 1 turn away, so I think a tie goes to us. Alright, let's go down the wormhole and see where we end up. Found the tree folk. Do we want to introduce ourselves to the tree folk? They're peaceful like us, right? They would be a good faction to maybe try and score
the unfallen greet you in
peace
the
with.
hopes that your goal. The unfallen greet
Just out of
you
curiosity.
again.
Okay, we're not starting in a bad place. I don't think there's anything I really want to give him right now, but now might be a good time to check our economy and stuff again, because we have another building we might want to buy out. And I'm going to go ahead and throw that in the queue. And we're going to come over here to luxuries and sell all of these again and see what we got for dust now. We're at 2k with 440 per turn. I'm going to save that Jade Onyx. I can get this in 2 turns, which is going to shave turns off of that, so that's going to happen. Also, because we now have technology to remove some of these things, I'm just going to queue all of these up. We're not going to do them right away. They're obviously after 3D printing. I guess I can move 3D printing to the end. But I don't want to forget to do them. And we do want to get all of them.
The unfallen greet.
Alright, so peace with the Unfallen might be something we can get done. Alright, we were going to start improving image, or I could reduce the cost of bribes and actions. We have a pretty good stockpile of influence. Maybe this is the one we do. So now we can afford to do a lot of these. So that's going to be plus 10 for 5 turns. No, plus 10 for 10 turns. That should be enough to get them all the way to here relatively quickly. The Unfallen have already talked to them, but Solo Quest Part 3. No idle hands. Plus 5 per sleepers on home system. Industry. Okay. Plus 3 influence. Oh, I want the industry for sure. Create a ship with 281 offensive power. Well, that'll be interesting to do with no military tech under our belt. Science and approval, we'll take that for now. And we have the new hero with 4 points that she can assign. Whoops. What is this one? 10% evasion. So let's give her fleets evasion and extra vision and free movement. I don't know. Maybe the XP's better. Go with the XP. So we want to consider building a military fleet here pretty soon. Maybe by turn 50. Until then, I think I'm just going to throw her on one of these scout ships and just start scouting curiosities with her to get her some more levels. I'm not sure. I guess we could create a fleet over here. Hero. Create fleet. So if I can only create a fleet. That's interesting. I could have sworn that I was able to create fleets on sanctuaries before. Alright, well, we'll just create a fleet here. And then we'll have to upgrade her ship. Guess I could have done that before. 3 movement probes. Weapons wise, I guess the best weapons we have are these really crappy pinch beams. She's probably not going to be in any fights. I guess I kind of need to give her probes too, don't I? At least one set of probes. Alright, and then we'll just move her over here and send out some probes in a few turns. One thing that I could do at this point is just set my fleets to auto-explore. It would be less optimal, but it would be nice to not have to micromanage them. Because right now it's kind of annoying. Let's go through the wormhole. And we'll send the probe that way. And wait. Send the probe that way and wait. Alright, and then this ship, I'm almost tempted to just leave it here. We should be able to figure out who these guys are now. Oh, the Riftborn. Okay. Well, I don't really want to introduce myself to the Riftborn at the moment. But I think I will keep this ship here just so we can keep an eye on them. Alright, anything else? We definitely want to get some more hacks going. I have a lot of things to hack at the moment. We've snatched up a lot of systems. We now have 3 planets over here, so I think it makes sense to start grabbing these. Large Craver fleet incoming. Alright, we now have a new science building we can build. AI labor. Our manpower situation is so bad that it's not going to be solved by selling this ship. In fact, it's probably going to be solved by fighting these pirates. What we're going to have to do is get a few more turns deeper into our snowball, and then we're going to have to continually run the chain gang in order to get our manpower under control. And the reason is, if we look here, every single planet that we colonize creates a 200 system defense force, but it doesn't fill it up. So because we have 2 planets here, this is 400. If we had 1, it would be 200. And if we had 3, if we got this one, it would be 600. That gets pulled from your global pool. Because we're creating so many sanctuaries so quickly right now, that is what's causing our manpower to just completely tank. And the problem that we're going to have is if we try to build any ships with no manpower in our global pool, it'll build those ships, but they won't have any manpower in them. That makes them incredibly susceptible to boarding parties, and also just less effective because they don't get the 20% damage buff that all ships get for having manpower. The way that we're going to solve this is in about 8 turns or so, we're going to start transitioning to military. And you're going to see a very swift change in direction where we're going to be producing lots of manpower and lots of ships and reset our military right around the time that some of the other players, at least in the AI game, are going to start catching wind of us and figuring out that we're around and maybe trying to harass us. And so hopefully we've set down a strong enough empire that we're going to be able to fight these guys off. I am going to go ahead and fight this. I don't really care if the pirate kills my ship. It did not. I think this ship is useful as a scout just to see what's going on over here. We see the Cravers actually put a colony. They put an outpost down on one of these. And we've already got 6 of 6 here and 2 of 8 here, so we're going to keep filling this up. In fact, it would be nice if we could redirect. I don't want to cancel any of these. We're going to get another one. I want to fill as many of these out with population as I can. We've already got the population rolling over here. So but the more slots we have, the more people we can fill up. And then the more sleepers we can just plant, which will be really good for us. Alright. More Umbral Choir over on Oyed. We're going to create a sanctuary on this tiny atoll, I guess. And then that's going to free up our hack. And we're going to be able to do another hack from here to here and create another sanctuary on the Craver occupied system. Alright, let's start picking up the pace here so we can get to turn 60 in a reasonable amount of time. We got 2 more probes, so let's head that way. Ooh, pirates. We're going to get caught because they have a blockade. Alright, not much we can do about it. I can set my movement through the system like this. Hopefully when we retreat, it'll send us that direction. No guarantees that it will, but... And then our hero has a probe that I can send out. And another turn bites the dust. Alright, we've got more stuff to throw in here. We could start buying some of these things out if we wanted to. They don't have a very high cost to get finished. And they're not food or production or anything like that, so I'm less inclined to buy them out. But what we do want to start doing is, I think what I want to do is start terraforming. I'm going to pull that off, and we're going to start grabbing the terraform text. And these are pretty cheap, so we can buy out a couple of them. Alright, we need a new technology. Now's maybe the time to grab a few of the things that are going to set up our military. This is one we definitely need, which is going to take like 0 turns. And then I talked about grabbing both of these. We really only need one of them in the short term. And I'm kind of leaning more towards this one. The +1 population is nice as well. So let's go ahead and grab that. It's also going to help our dust stay positive. We don't have trade routes yet, but trade routes are another thing that's going to be really beneficial to us. Let's grab the one with the luxury resources so we're getting that income. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Alright, I think... Is this ship... This one's already got ram scoops, so... I guess what we'll do is we'll head back to here, and I will check the distance that we can travel with the current engines we have, and then I will check if putting the other engines on actually makes the distance better. We'll take a free science, sure. Where was this at? Oh, okay. We could spend a bunch here, but we're not going to. What we're going to do instead is I'm going to get these guys rolling a little bit faster. And we're going to try and take as many of these as possible. We already have the Riftborn kind of skirting in here, and I want to get to here next. So do we have any? We do. I've got a hacking op. This is going to be done in 1 turn, and we need to hack through this system in order to get that quest completed. So maybe that's where we're going to do it from, right here. The other option is I can hack a beacon onto here. Let's go ahead and hack a beacon onto here. That'll allow us to do that little trick we talked about earlier in a late part of the game if we need to. Definitely want to get another hack on this system so we get to level 3 stealth. And a lot of the game now is basically going to be just dealing with hacks while we're still trying to scout and do everything else we do. We're at 12 of 14 on Oyed. We've got another sanctuary on Atlas. We're going to grab the one with the strategics. And here's something we haven't looked at in a while. Every single one of these planets is providing us per planet resources from those early system developments that we put down. And so if I sort this by industry, that puts this at the top here, you can see, remember those 2 points that we put into that science tech for our hero, that skill? Look at all that science we're getting from all of these. And then the food, the industry, the little bit of dust. But yeah, all of this just stacks and stacks and stacks. Every one of these we get down is providing us more and more fidsies. I got 2 more probes. Let's get a couple more launched out there and see if we can't find something. Oh, nothing's going on here. We're stealth and we see a Craver ship. It is pretty weak, right? Our ship's stronger than that? Yeah, our ship's way stronger than that. We could attack this Craver ship. I don't know that it's worth doing. I think we're just gonna go silent here. Curiously, we did not get attacked by these pirates. Huh. Alright, well, we're gonna go a different direction than the pirates. And just keep moving along and try to avoid them as much as possible. Yeah, let's go ahead and send our hero over here. And now we're going to do a little test. So this will take just a second. So what I want to see is, okay, with my ram scoops, I can get almost to this system with 3 ram scoops. So then if I retrofit this ship with this, this would be better if the plus 25 doesn't stack. So if I apply that design, retrofit, can I get further? See, it's less. It's actually not as far as 3 ram scoops. So that ability does stack in such a way that it provides you slightly more movement than the 2 plus 4. Now, there may be a combination of engines with higher move speed that actually do out-compete 3 ram scoops, but 3 ram scoops is pretty amazing on your scouts. So yeah, it does stack just like in most of the other effects in the game. Yeah, because this is further. We can get just a little bit further. The other one was only getting to like here. So, mystery solved. We'll send him out that way, I guess, and go look for something else to do. I guess I could start sending probes this direction, though I don't think we're going to find much. Oh yeah, we need to be hacking every single turn now. Alright, what do I want to do hack-wise here? Can we hack from here? We can. It's going to take 11 turns to do this. Yeah, this is pretty crazy. And the funny thing is, like, we only have one system, so we don't even have as much as a lot of other players would at this point in the game to even keep track of. We don't have a big military. We don't have like 5 or 10 systems. You know, that the sanctuaries is just there. You don't really do anything with them. But yeah, there's just tons to micromanage with these guys. I don't know that I want to run this. Do I want to do this? Yeah, let's go ahead and do this, because that'll get our quest. I see that these guys have already grabbed... They've already put a outpost down here. We may not even be able to do that. Can we run an accelerator here? How many accelerators can I throw down? I can throw down 2. Alright, we'll just throw 2 accelerators down and hope that that's enough. Alright, we're going to go another 15 minutes or so, and I don't know that I'm going to make it quite to turn 60 in 15 minutes, but yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff about this faction. I like it from an internal perspective. Like, if you just really like focusing on internal victory conditions, this is a great faction for you. What I don't like about it, and what I think is going to make it really poor to play against in multiplayer, is that there's just zero interaction with other players that's meaningful. Like, even the hacking. You start hacking other players and doing stuff to them. I've found, at least against the AI, I can largely just ignore their hacks. They bother me, but there's usually ways. I just get my economy rolling so hard that it doesn't really matter all that much. Now, maybe against a live player, that's a little bit different, but I think it would be more annoying than fun to play against. Alright, so another technology I really like. So this one gave us +1 population on crescents. This one gives us another +1 population on crescents. And maxing out our system is one of the things that we really want to do here in the early game. In order to do that, we're going to need to grab more food tech. And also, we're going to have to grab more food tech if we want to really accelerate our manpower situation. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this. We need to grab 2 technologies from this tree here. Both of these technologies are really important for us. This one is a unique building that just provides a lot of stuff for our home system. It's fairly expensive to build industry-wise, but our industry is great now. It also gives us barren, which we're going to find useful. So these 2 buildings will unlock the next tier, and then we're going to go straight for medium-class ships. We're going to skip the small ones altogether. We are at 14 of 14 on OED, so now it's time to undo that and start filling up the population here again. This is going to finish in 1 turn, and look at this. All of this is going to get done in 4 turns. I can start throwing down some of these other things. And then we'll just throw that at the end of the queue. All these things are going to get done eventually. We don't have to really worry about them. This is just all of our relationships. We're going to install this migration beacon, which gives us another out. And we're going to create another sanctuary on that system that the Cravers have taken up. That means that we could potentially put more population over here. Do we want to put any more population over here? I can put 5 more over here. I think they need more offensive options or more interaction. What I don't like about the hacking system, I understand what they were going for, but what I don't like about it is that you can do things to players and they either don't know that you did it at all, or they get a message that says, something happened in your empire. Look at every single detail and see if you can figure out what it is. And neither one of those things I think is really helpful for building interaction between players. Because most players just aren't going to look at every detail and look, oh, my dust dropped by 50% from last turn because I was paying attention to every little detail. You're just not going to notice those kinds of things until they literally become a problem with you doing anything. And I've been in games where my dust has just been like randomly crippled, or I lose a population and it's like clearly somebody grabbed a sleeper or something. But I think the lack of information does provide a little like, ooh, intrigue, stuff is happening in the shadows. But at the same time, this game is about giving you information and making good decisions on it. And if I don't have like the information about what's going on, I can't really do anything about it. So I think it should be really done differently, but I don't know how. I don't have a good answer for it. And I don't know if a modder could fix it or make it better. I'm sure that the people have some ideas, but do manipulations to political parties have as meaningful an impact in game as on paper? I don't know what you mean by as on paper. I guess if you're just like theoretically thinking that it would. Yeah, so the political party thing can actually be very crippling for certain empires, and specifically for ones that are very, very reliant on a certain type of political party or specific laws that are like keeping their system operating. The one that is most easily comes to mind is the Cravers. If the Cravers are relying on war and some of those wartime bonuses to keep their economy and their approval high, and then all of a sudden you change their political party to like ecologists, and now they're like, oh crap, all of our approval just tanked because we're not in like 5 wars anymore, and we are, but we don't have that law that gives us all the benefits. It can really, really mess with an empire. But it really is dependent on how reliant they are on their laws and their government. And there's a few factions that have like very specialized governments, and they do very unique things, Cravers being one of them. And those are the ones that are going to get hit the hardest if you just like flip their political system upside down. But a lot of the races is like, the nice thing about the politics in this game, the political system can largely be ignored if you just don't care about it. Like, you don't have to really deal with it or worry about it for most of the factions. There's a few that's not the case. And that's good because it's just one more layer that people have to deal with. And if it were too complex and they couldn't ignore it, I think that would drag people away from the game because it's just too much. But the nice thing is, if you want to focus on it, if you really want to dive into the political system, it's really rich and there's a lot of little things you can tweak. The paranoid enemy is a defeated enemy. Please check if I am in your lands or not, and lose Fids and the game. Thanks. See, I don't think that it really matters that much. And I'll show you, I can't really show you why with this faction as well as I could with other factions, but if I come over here and I click this button, yeah, okay, my happiness dropped a little bit. Here, let me move one of my population pips over out of an over-colonization slot. Problem solved. Now I can just run sleepers forever with 0 impact. Like, and that's true of like every game I've played. Like, if I want to search for sleepers, I can pretty much search for them without any penalty or a very minor penalty to my fidsies. So this really doesn't impact the game nearly as much as it could. This could be a lot steeper of a cost, but if it were, you would probably have to do more than just reverse a sleeper every 5 turns. I don't know. I think that it's going to take time for Amplitude to feel out some of these new systems, and they'll definitely tweak them and make some changes to them, and then maybe some modders will improve upon or change them even more. But when these things first come out, it's going to take time for them to really get fleshed out. They've already made some good changes in the first patch that came out, where like the way accelerators work is now more intuitive. It actually works the way you think it should work. So I think they'll continue to make those little polished changes over the next few patches. And who knows, we might get another DLC before the end of the year. Seems like they're coming out with a DLC like every 9 months, so I'm not complaining. I really like this game, and I'm glad that it's continuing to get attention. But yeah, we'll see new stuff. I know there's
war,
at least one
diplomacy
faction still in the
remains an
works.
option. For the good of the church, I have a proposal for you.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely like be the guy in the background pulling the strings while all the other players are fighting. So there's definitely like some cool stuff that you could do with multiplayer as the Umbral Choir. You're definitely going to have to make allies, which is important. But you could be a very powerful ally to somebody else. We were talking in the Discord channel about how ridiculously awesome trade routes are with the Umbral Choir because of the way their trade system works differently, which we're going to try to demo, probably not tonight. And if you made friends with like a Lumeris player, holy crap, how much dust could you guys generate? It would just be so ridiculous. But I'm not exactly sure how like your trade routes interact with another player's trade routes to know that it would be as good as I think it could be. So that's something to definitely try out at some point and see if we can't get trade routes with another player and see kind of how they work. But the way that they work for us is you build a headquarters, you don't build any subsidiaries, and every single one of your sanctuaries counts as a subsidiary immediately from the turn that you get the headquarters down. So it's like ridiculous how fast you can get a massive trade system going. Whereas any other player has to build the headquarters, then build the subsidiary, then level it up, then build the headquarters, then build the subsidiary, then level it up. We don't have to do that. It literally just grabs a trade route to every single, and you've seen how many I've gotten down in like the last 10 turns. So yeah, it's really, really powerful. I'm going to go ahead and pay these guys just to leave us alone for a little while. It's not like we don't have the dust. I'm making that much dust in less than a turn and a half.
Our relations with you are a source of joy.
See,
and
now
hope
they're
for
happy.
the church. Our relations with you.
Give the church a little cash and they get all friendly. Alright, we need to send some probes this other direction, I think. There's got to be something out here, right? We got 4 probes on this guy. What has he been doing? Jeez. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then get down the lane. And I think actually I'm going to end it on turn 50-ish today, if that turns out to be a good spot. Just so we can kind of keep these things to 2 hours. Alright. So much going on. Oh yeah, you could have a lot of fun. Well, and the thing is, with the hacking system, and with the stealth system even, you can have a lot of fun trolling people, even if you're not playing the Umbral Choir. Because you can like stealth ships and... Alright, we're just going to throw more buildings down. Just kick that out of the queue again. We need military technology. So we've got the 2 that I needed to unlock medium ships. We're definitely going to grab medium ships, but before we do, we need to go ahead and grab a couple other military techs. We need command points. So that's going to be really important to our cause. Also tanks. Good for invasions. And I want to try to build a military and start clearing out pirates and preparing for fighting with cravers. So that's going to be important. And then siege modules, titanium A2S slugs are almost imperative. And we'll talk about how we might utilize those best at a later point in time. But mainly, I just need to grab another tech to move up the tree. So we're going to grab that one because I know this is super useful. Also, I kind of like swarm missiles. They're growing on me, and I've used them a lot more lately than I have in the past. And that's going to get us to this next tier, which is super important because we need more command points. And so we'll get that very shortly. Got more law slots. We got another wonder. We got another point. And so we talked about how much power that this was providing us. I want you to see what a percent bonus does to a system or to an empire that has all of its industry into a single pile. So we got 909 industry, and we're going to increase this by 5% now, which you might be impressed or you might not. We'll see. How impressive was it? Not nearly as much as I thought it would be. So this must not be counting the industry on all of these systems. It must just be the industry in the primary system that's getting the 5% calculated. And this is kind of annoying because it isn't clear from the text which abilities apply to sanctuary cities. Like Person of Means applies to sanctuary cities. Blue Sky Speculator applies to sanctuary cities. But the other one doesn't show up here. And it shows up here, but it's a smaller amount than I would normally have calculated it to be. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Thought that would be a little more impressive. Alright, we've got 12 of 21. We're doing just fine here. We're going to have some hacking operations. This civilization is now pretty much ours. Outpost alert on Gano. Show location. Okay, we kind of figured that was going to happen. I need to get another hack onto Gano so we can get to level 3. So they can't find us with any kind of stealth technology. And also, we probably want to get the 4th one as well, since they've already grabbed that system. I've got another free hack. Which one do we want to do? Lots of options again. I do have the option of getting level 2 over here. Maybe that's what we do. We'll do it from the back door because it's a little faster. So we'll go from the back door to here. No, not like that. Oh, we can go straight across. Okay, well, let's just do that. I was wondering why it kept skipping. That was weird. Alright. 2 more turns. Yeah, they are. Absolutely. Especially once you hit the mid-game. So we're like right at like the beginning of the mid-game. We've passed the early part of the game, and we've done a very good job in the first 50 turns of getting all of our resources spec'd pretty well. Population is growing at an incredible rate. Our empire, and we haven't even taken any sleepers yet. Like, that's the other thing. Like, we haven't even looked into the sleeper system yet, but it's still early in the game. But if I go to our population window here, we have a 33. I mean, we're going to hit 50 in no time. We're gaining like 1 a turn. So, yeah, it's going to be, it's going to snowball really fast. I've already got that. I can go ahead and get this next. And then we can go right to the 2 medium techs. And look at this. Our science is so good that all of this is probably going to take maybe 6 turns. These will get slightly more expensive as the previous 2 get built. Alright, and I want to test something out here. So we just gained 14 of 21. Wow. Yeah, just retreat, hero. Confirm. Show location. Found another minor faction. We can grab all of those. And then keep moving. Another quest. -5 science for a few turns. Get something good maybe. I'll take the roll. Okay, I want to show you guys something that I have not done yet, but I think we're at a point in the game where we can do this. So I want you to notice we're building over 400 food per turn. Okay, that's more than a single population per turn. And this is after consumption and everything else. So if we then go to Chain Gang Program, and I put that at the top of the queue. Chain Gang Program is minus 300 food in 1 turn. Normally, when you lose 300 food, you would lose a population. But what I've seen in my previous playthroughs is that I don't lose any population. In fact, many times later, like 60, turn 70, turn 80, my food will be so high, I'll still gain a population while chain ganging, which is just crazy. But that's what's been happening. So let's see if this actually works. Let's see, I'm at 14 population in this system right now. And we had, just to be sure it's not coming off of somewhere else, 33 total in our empire. So if I chain gang right now, I should go down to 32 in the empire, and I should go down to 13 within this system, which has 14 population. So let's see what happens. Okay, I did not see any of these numbers change. I saw 14 here, and 5 here. I didn't see any of these other ones that had anything. I am still at 33, which is what we said, right? Because I was at 33 before, correct? Anybody? I'm definitely still at 14 on my main system. Yep. And I chain gang, you can see my manpower went up a little bit, but not a lot. And the reason that it went up a little bit and not a lot is because the entire 300 manpower that we just grabbed got sucked into the void of all of these sanctuaries. And so it's filled up basically one of our sanctuaries. Who knows which one? Maybe a bunch of them a little bit. Like this one's at 188 of 200. So all of these sanctuaries are getting filled up with manpower. That's what's going on right now. And that's why this number keeps going to 0. Because every time we drop a new sanctuary, it puts another 200 that we have to pull from this pool to fill it up. What I can essentially do at this point, although it will slow down my growth, is I can run chain gang every single turn to eventually get enough manpower to fill all of our sanctuaries and then have enough left over to start filling our global pool to where when we build ships, we'll actually have manpower to put on them. And so, yeah, basically that's the way it works. But in order to do that, I have to chain gang every turn, and I can't like permanently queue it. I have to manually alt queue it into the queue every turn. I have to alt click it to put it here every single turn to get it back there. But I can do this every turn, and it doesn't actually take away population. Now, the one thing I don't know, it doesn't look like it, you can get the super sleeper population from abducting your sleepers. And there were some people who were concerned that chain ganging would take away one of those and then just immediately replace it with a regular Umbral Choir. And I need to test that to make sure that that is not the case, that it's just doing that in the background and you just don't see it. But I don't think it is. I think because if you look at it, it clearly says it's just taking 300 food away from your total, and we have more than 300 food. So we don't lose a population. We have enough to chain gang without losing any population. And any empire can do this, but we're the only empire that's realistically going to do it because all of our sanctuaries funnel their food to a single system, and that's what allows our food to get so ridiculous. We only ever get 2 population types, And we can boost them with luxury resources if we happen to have those luxury resources. Right now, the Umbral Choir use potatoes, and then the Umbral Shadow thing, the Abducted Sleeper, has a different luxury resource that they require usually. But we'll start doing that probably next game. So I did demonstrate that this does indeed not take any population, as far as I can tell, and we'll keep investigating it, and we'll start doing this more in the next video. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. I appreciate you guys for coming and joining me and chatting with me while I was playing. It's always helpful to get a second pair of eyes on things and get some insights from other players, and I love talking about this game. So continue to join me as you have the time to do so. And this video, as well as all of my stream videos from now on, should go on to my YouTube channel. So if you ever want to go back and rewatch any of it, you can do that. And until next time, this has been The Nose Plays, and you guys have a great evening.